So the question reads, Momwapa ZIT invests money into a savings account over a period of 8 years under the following conditions. Okay, first thing, 50,000 is deposited today, then 30,000 is deposited at the beginning of year two, then 40,000 is deposited at the beginning of year four, then 30,000 is deposited at the beginning of year five, then an additional 20,000 is deposited at the end of year seven. So the interest rate is 8% per annum, compounded annually for the first 3 years, and 10% per annum 10% per annum compounded semi-annually for the remaining years. How much will Momwapa ZIT have by the end of the 8 years? All right. So we're going to look at the timeline. All right. We look at the timeline here. So from years 1 to 3, it's 8% per annum. All right. So our growth factor, because here, colleagues, basically we're just using the future value formula here. That's what we're using, because we want to find out how much this money is going to be at the end of 8 years. So the main formula that we're using is the formula for the future value. Okay, so remember, oh yes, Mr. Brian, are you able to see my screen? Madam, try to log out and log in. Okay, so madam, just log out and log in. All right. So as I said here, the formula that will be used is this one: future value equals present value 1 plus the rate to the power t. Okay. So this 1 plus r, we're going to use 8% for the first 3 years. Okay. So 8% is 0.08. Okay. So our growth factor is going to be 1.08. Okay. This 1 plus r, which is our growth factor, is going to be 1.08. So they say 50,000 has been deposited today. Okay, so we call that year zero. Okay, initial deposit, we have an initial deposit of 50,000. Okay, then at the end of year one, this 50,000 is supposed to grow by 8%. Okay, so this same formula here: future value, present value 1 plus r to the power t. Okay, so you're just going to say 50,000 multiplied by 1.08. At the end of year one, we have 54,000 kwacha. Okay. At the end of year one, that 50,000 has grown to 54,000 kwacha. Okay. Then, according to our timeline, 30,000 is deposited at the beginning of year two. Would you kindly mute your mic, madam? 30,000 is deposited at the beginning of year two. So, year two, remember, at the end of year one, we have 54,000. Then we've added in a 30,000. So 54,000 plus 30,000, we have an 84,000 in total at the beginning of year two. Okay. Remember, this amount is growing by 8%. Okay. So at the end of year two, you're going to say 84,000 multiplied by 1.08. Okay. And you're going to get 90,720 kwacha. Okay, so at the end of year 2, you have the 90,720 kwacha. Any questions so far? Okay, so the next deposit is only going to happen in year 4. So at the end of year 2, as we said, we have 90,720 kwacha. Year 3 comes, you start with this 90,720 kwacha. Then at the end of year 3, this 9,720 kwacha is going to grow by another 8%. So you say 90,720 kwacha multiplied by 1.08. Again, to get 97,977.60 ngwe. Okay, that is the balance at the end of year 3. Now, according to the question, okay, this 8% is for 3 years only. So, moment we enter year 4, this 8% becomes 10%. And now it's compounded semi-annually. All right, compounded semi-annually. So we need to make an adjustment for this semi-annual compounding. Okay, so we're going to come to our growth factor here, 10%. Okay, since it's compounded semi-annually, this is what's happening to our growth factor. Remember, our growth factor is 1 plus r to the power t. Right. So whenever the compounding is semi-annually, all right, you're always going to divide the rate by 2. Okay. Yeah, and since here semi-annually, it means you'll be paid twice. So the time here is going to be raised to the power 2. Okay. So as you can see here, 1 plus 0.1. This 0.1 is the 10%. You divide it by 2, becomes 1.05. So you say 1.05 raised to the power 2, that becomes 1.1025. So here what we've done, colleagues, we've accounted for the semi-annual compounding for years 4 to 8, because I believe this semi-annual compounding for the remaining years, yes. Okay, so we made the adjustment for the semi-annual compoundings. So it means our new growth factor is 1.1025. This is what we'll be multiplying with our amounts of money. So remember, according to our timeline, this person is depositing a 40,000 at the beginning of year 4. Okay, he's depositing a 40,000. And then remember our balance for year 3. Year 3, we ended year 3 with 97,977.6. So we're going to add it to this 40,000. 97,977.6 plus 40,000. You're going to get 137,977.6. Okay, so that's the beginning balance over year 4. Then at the end of year 4, after the compounding has been done twice, we're going to multiply 137,977.6 multiplied by the growth factor, 1.1025. You're going to get 152,130 kwacha. Okay, that's the ending balance of year 4. Then we come to year 5. 30,000 is deposited at the end of year 5. So what we need to do for year 5, all right, before the deposit is added, this 152,120 multiplied by the growth factor 1.1025, you're going to get 167,712.64. Okay. Then after that, you're going to now add the deposit at the end of the year, which is this 30,000. Okay. Remember in year 5, the deposit is at the end of the year. So first, we we adjust our amount with the growth factor, and then we add this 30,000. Okay, so at the end of year 5, we have a total of 197,712.64. Year 6, nothing happens, no deposits. So at the end of year 6, our beginning balance multiplied by the growth factor, we're going to have 217,978.18. Then they've told us an additional amount, 20,000, is deposited at the end of year 7. Okay, so in year 7, before the additional amount is added in, this opening balance will multiply it with the growth factor 1.1025. So we're going to say 217,978.18 multiplied by 1.1025. You get 240,320.94. Then at the end, we are going to add an extra 20,000, since this 20,000 is deposited at the end of the year. So you're going to have 260,320.94. Then the final year comes, year 8. We begin with this balance, 260,320.94, and you multiply it by the growth factor 1.1025. We're going to get 287,000 3/4 84 ngwe. Right, so this is how much we are going to have after 8 years. All right. Yes. Any questions?